Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Muscle Building Mastery Podcast. My name's Andy Clements, and today I'm really excited to share what I've got to share with you, because today's episode is going to be something that I struggled with this question and this issue for a long time. And today's episode is called, should you take a pre-workout? Now, this is like a really popular topic, a really hot thing that people search for and people want the answers for. I know for me, I always first of all, I didn't know what a pre-workout was, and then when I found out what it was, I was like, oh, should I take one? Should I not take one? I don't really know what to do. So in this episode, I want to give you guys some clarity on what pre-workouts can do for you, and whether or not you should really be concerned with taking them if you're just training and you want to build muscle, okay? So a few years ago, I was going through a bit of a stressful time in my life, right? I was crazy with work. My dad had just passed away, so things were a bit emotionally stressful. Things were all kind of up in the air, okay? And as I've spoken about on this podcast before, when you've got more stress in your life and you've got more emotional turmoil and things taking away your energy, whether it's emotional or physical, you've got less resources to dedicate to training, right? So therefore, every time I showed up at the gym, because I was still training all the way through, every time I showed up at the gym, I couldn't kind of find that other gear in my head. I was like really tired, I was sleepy, I was lethargic, because I was just like so exhausted from the day's events, or you know, the events of whatever time I was going through in my life. And I just couldn't seem to get myself like motivated or up for the gym. You guys ever experienced anything like that? And so I ended up feeling kind of exhausted. And I remember this one particular day, I was walking up the stairs of the gym that I train at, my local gym, and the stairs in this gym, they're like it's like really like an old school gym. It's like an old school hardcore, like almost bodybuilding gym, right? And there's no windows in this, like when you go through the entrance, there's no windows in the staircase, just a couple of dimly lit lights. So it's like really dingy, all the paint's coming off the walls, and it's like really like grimy and all that kind of stuff. So I'm walking up this dingy staircase and I'm just like, oh, I could just go to sleep. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, like I've got to go train legs, because it was leg day. My training partner was already there, was expecting me to be high energy and push each other through like we normally do. And I just thought to myself, I just don't have it in me to like push myself, let alone somebody else, through a hardcore workout right now, especially a leg workout, right? You guys ever done a leg workout? You know what I mean, like a hard leg workout. It's difficult. So yeah, I was feeling exhausted walking up these stairs, and I got to the top, and when you get to the top in my gym, like how it's laid out, the reception area is the first place you come to, right? As soon as you get up the stairs. So you go up, and the gym's more well lit and stuff, and it's a little bit cleaner than this grimy looking staircase. So I was having a chat to the receptionist, and I was saying I'm so tired, like I've got to go train legs. And she was saying, well, why don't you try a pre-workout? I was like, I've never tried a pre-workout. Well, like I've heard of them, obviously, but I don't really know what it is. And she just sort of said, well, it just gives you a kick, and it'll just like you know, and kind of like just giving you a shot of energy. And I was like, oh sweet, well that's what I need. So I was like, yeah, give me 2. Right? So I had like 2 scoops of this really strong pre-workout. I have no idea what they work like. You guys have probably seen them before, like these all you have to do is Google pre-workout, and you'll see all the kind of marketing, like they're all bright colours and crazy flavours and all this stuff, and it's like marketing telling you how much of a kick and a stimulation effect you're going to get for amazing like hardcore workouts. So I was sold on the concept. I was like, yeah, give me 2, man, you know. So I nailed these 2 scoops of pre-workout, and in fairness, like it gave me a massive kick, because I've never had anything like it before. All I've ever had is you know, like coffees like I'm drinking now. So I felt wired. I was like wired off my face. I was like buzzing, because obviously I was really, really sensitive to all the different things in the pre-workout. And I ended up, because it gave me such a kick and I was so sensitive to it, I ended up having a really good workout, and I had a really good impression of these pre-workout supplements, right? I was like trained well, I felt strong, me and my training partner had a good session, we pushed each other through, we beat numbers, all this stuff. I was like, oh my God, these pre-workout things, it's like, they're amazing, what a miracle cure they are. I can't believe I'd never tried these before, right? So I was like, I am sold on the concept. The only problem was, after I'd finished the workout and I got home, I started to like crash, like my energy just like crashed. It was almost like I'd stored the whole evening's energy into this 1 hour window, and then I just like used it all up, and then I had nothing afterwards. So I mean, it was the evening, so it didn't really matter that much, but I was just knackered. I felt awful. But then, even though I felt exhausted, when I got in bed that night, I couldn't sleep. So you know, I was like dozing off and on, and I maybe got 4 or 5 hours sleep that night, which is better than nothing, but it wasn't brilliant, and I need a lot of sleep to feel good, right? So I was struggling the next day. I was hauling ass the next day, but it was balanced with I had such a great workout. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to push through. I'm going to keep having these pre-workout things and see how I get on. So I kept having the pre-workouts like religiously before every workout, and I kept having good workouts, and it kept giving me a kick and giving me a kick. But over time, and I'm talking over maybe a 2 or 3 weeks or maybe a month window, I've taken these pre-workouts like every training day. I started hitting a bit of a wall with it. You know what I mean? So I started hitting a bit of a wall. I wasn't sleeping great, like I say. I wasn't recovering from sessions very well. Like by the time it was time for leg day again, my legs were still sore from last time, and it's like, we train them slightly more frequently than once a week, like maybe every 5 days, but 5 days for me should still be enough to recover from a leg workout. It shouldn't still be sore after 5 days, and I was still really sore, and I was like, what's going on? Like, well, I'm not normally sore after 5 days of recovery from leg workouts. So I was a bit confused about that, and again, I wasn't sleeping well, and I was just like feeling kind of lethargic through the day, and I felt like I was like relying on these pre-workouts just to get me through the workout, right? But then after like a few weeks or a month, my tolerance started to build up to it as well. So, you know, you've got like a tolerance to caffeine and all these different things, all these stimulant drugs that are in the pre-workouts. And my tolerance started to build up to it, right? So I needed more and more to get the same kick. Sounds like some sort of drug addict, but it's not, it's just pre-workouts. So I needed like 2 and 3 scoops to get the same sort of stimulus effect for my workout as I got with the 1 scoop or the 2 scoops before. So I ended up like struggling, really struggling, and I was feeling even more tired and even more lethargic than I was when I first started, you know, in the period outside of the gym. Like in the 23 hours I wasn't in the gym, I was feeling even more lethargic, even more tired than before. So I kind of got to a point where I was like, I can't go on like this. I can't keep relying on these things just to push me through the workouts. I can't keep not sleeping. I can't keep not recovering from workouts. So I was like, I've got to find a better way. There's got to be a better way than this. I can't just keep relying on these things. So I sat and sort of thought about it one day. I can remember thinking about it, sat on the sofa one day, and like, I was like, what can I do? Because I felt exhausted. What can I do to get myself through these workouts? And the kind of epiphany that I had was, you've got to consider the effect that these pre-workout things have on your body as a whole, you know, over the course of a 24-hour window, or a course of a 7-day or a month window or a year window. You've got to consider the cumulative effect it's going to have on your body as a whole, rather than just that small window of your workout, right? And the reason for that is that muscle building is a result of your actions over 24 hours a day, rather than just that 1 or 2 hours that you're spending in the gym. Does that make sense? So a lot of people think that because the gym is like the sexy part, right? The lifting weights is the bit that farms in likes on Instagram or whatever else, and it's the bit we like to talk about because it's interesting to us. That's only one part of your muscle building journey, of the things that go into your muscle building. The rest of it is what happens in the other 23 hours. It's your sleep, it's your recovery, it's your daylight exposure, it's your stress management, it's all your hydration, it's all these different things that go into your muscle building, right? And if you have all of those out of whack, it doesn't matter how good your workouts are, your physique's still gonna suck, right? Because it's not sustainable, and you're not recovering, and you're not gonna be growing. So that was kind of like the aha moment I had. That was the epiphany I had, and I was like, So what I did was I was like, right, okay, we'll reverse what we did. That obviously didn't work. So I took the pre-workouts out, and I stopped taking them. I started to feel better, right? I started to, my energy started to come back. My sleep started to return to normal. Things started to kind of go back to how they were a little bit. But I still had that problem of feeling a little bit sleepy and lethargic before my workouts. So I'd not actually solved the problem. I just tried something and then took it back out again. So it was like a bit of a waste of a month. So what I ended up doing was I ended up devising over the course of the next few months, based on research, based on trial and error, based on putting things in, taking things out, a way to naturally boost your motivation and your energy before your workouts without the need for a pre-workout supplement. And I'm not, I know this sounds like I'm like trashing pre-workout supplements. I'm not. There's some that are really good. There's some that are not so good. But what I am saying is you shouldn't have to rely on them, okay? So listen to what I did now. What I did was I devised a pre-workout routine, okay? And my routine was, and still is, following. Number one is, and I've made a podcast just about number one before. It's called What to Eat and Not Eat Before Your Workouts. I can't remember what exercise it is, but if you want to listen to it, just scroll back through. But number one in the pre-workout routine is 0 carbs before you train, or at least in the 2 to 3 hours before you train. So if you train in the morning, 0 carbs for breakfast. If you train in the evening, 0 carbs from lunch onwards. And, just make sure that you've got at least 2 to preferably 3 hours before your workouts where you're not taking in carbohydrates. That's because, just briefly, that's because they release a hormone called serotonin, which is kind of like a hormone that makes you feel kind of tired and sleepy, okay? So that's the first one, and as an offshoot to that, I also don't have any food within 1 hour of training either. Any closer than 60 minutes with your last meal, and your blood's all going to be in your digestive system rather than your muscles where you need it, right? And you're not going to feel switched on. You're going to feel like you need the pre-workout, right? So that's number one. That's the first part of the routine. The second part of the routine was to switch my focus from whatever I was doing previously to my workout 1 hour before I start training. Now this is probably the most important part of my routine, okay? So from 60 minutes, preferably 90 minutes, but we've got other things we need to do a lot of the time. We've got work and we've got other commitments. But if you possibly can, 60 minutes, this is what I do, it's what I devised. Before your workout begins, your focus, your entire focus switches to the workout. Nothing else matters, okay? So your phone goes on like do not disturb mode or whatever, or goes off or whatever. You can start listening to like music to start getting yourself in more of a switched on like fight or flight state where you're starting to prepare yourself to train. So like a more of a high paced high tempo beat, stuff like that. Like I often like rock or rap or something. Sometimes I just like to listen to the music I like to listen to, whatever I'm in the mood for. And the other thing I like to do in that hour as well is I like to write out my workout plan in my logbook. So you should all be using a logbook. If you're not writing out your workout plans, you need to write out your workout plans in a logbook. I prefer pen and paper because in that 1 hour window, I can then write out every movement, and in my head I'm visualizing that movement, and that's getting me more focused and more switched on to the workout I'm about to perform, rather than just rocking up at the gym and expecting just to flick straight into that mental state as soon as you arrive. It's not realistic. So that's what I used to do, but what I do now is really get focused on what I'm about to do with a good amount of time beforehand and get myself used to the idea of training. So there's a few other things I do in that 1 hour period, but that's the main gist of the focus component. And then number three, and this is only once I've done the first two and I've done everything I possibly can to switch my mental state into the training style. If I still feel like I need a little bit of a kick, then what I'll do is have what I'm having right now, which is a black coffee, which is just coffee. Just coffee and water, that's all it is, right? And I will say that if you want to have a very carefully selected pre-workout here, you can have a carefully selected pre-workout. I wouldn't have like a mega dose of it. I wouldn't have like 2, 3, 4 scoops, like go stupid with it. But what I would do is, you can have like a scoop of pre-workout that's carefully selected. I'm not going to like go recommending brands right now on this. It's not the right place for it. If you do your research properly, then you should be able to find some pre-workouts that are pretty decent without having too much of the come down side effects afterwards, right? So that is my pre-workout routine. That's, if you employ that, you will instantly and you get your sleep right. That's the other thing. But if you employ that, you will instantly not feel the need for the pre-workouts anymore. You know. So just having a slurp of coffee. So what I realised then was it's as much about your mental state. You know, the ability to feel ready to train is as much about your mental state and where you're at up here as it is about external stimulation. If you can get your mind right, then your body will follow and you'll crush your workouts. But you just got to get that mind in gear. You got to get your noggin sorted, right? And you will have better workouts. You will feel more energized. So as a result of that, I can now avoid pre-workouts, and all I do is have the occasional black coffee. I only have these occasionally, right? You know, before 1 in 3, 1 in 4 workouts maybe. And most of the time I just go straight in. I just do my pre-workout ritual, my routine, and I go straight into my my workout, and I absolutely crush it. I hit my numbers, I do all the rest of it. My workouts are now amazing. Like my strength is way better than it was. I can switch my mind into a different gear when I get to the gym and when I'm going into a big set. And as a result, my muscle mass has increased more than it would have done in the last few years. It's really come on because now I can get into that mental state, and then using the post-workout ritual, which I'll probably talk about in a future podcast, I can drop myself back out of that state into a recovery state, so my muscles recover faster and they grow faster, right? And as a result of this now as well, my energy and my mood are so much better because I don't have to rely on these like almost toxic stimulants sometimes, which are a lot of pre-workouts are. Not all, and again, I'm not trashing all pre-workouts, but a lot of them are like cheap made rubbish basically. So my energy and mood are so much better than they were, and yeah, things have just took a great turn. So if I had one piece of advice for you, it would be devise your own or follow my pre-workout ritual so you don't have to rely on pre-workouts. There's nothing wrong with taking a pre-workout once in a while, but if you're reliant on them, then I think you're in a bad spot, like as I was in a bad spot. So you might need to think about tweaking things and trying to pull yourself out of there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to say about pre-workouts. They're not bad, but make sure that you're not reliant on them. I hope this podcast was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took some value from it. If you did, please drop me a like or a comment on the YouTube video, or if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or somewhere else, drop me a review and let me know what you think of this podcast as well, which I'd really, really appreciate. Hope you enjoyed this, guys, and I'll see you next time on the Muscle Building Mastery Podcast.